Good evening and welcome to the Open House Project Update meeting for the Brent Spence Bridge Corridor Project. The purpose of tonight's Open House public meeting is to provide details about the Brent Spence Bridge Corridor Project. We'll also give updates on where the project currently stands and what's coming next. We're here to answer your questions and to listen to your feedback about the project, which you can do one-on-one with the project team as you look at the information that's available at this open house. In this presentation, we'll give a brief project history and overview of the project's primary features. We'll also introduce the progressive design build process that will be used to deliver nearly 6 miles of the project. Finally, we'll provide an update on the project's environmental process. In 2004, ODOT and KYTC formally began studying ways to improve 7.8 miles of I-71 and I-75 in Kentucky and Ohio. Through a series of preliminary engineering and planning studies, we developed several potential alternatives for improving the corridor. We completed preliminary engineering and evaluated the impacts of each alternative and developed an environmental assessment that compared the benefits and impacts of the alternatives and recommended one alternative, called the selected alternative, to move forward into detailed design and construction. Since 2012, KYTC has been studying ways to improve the design, simplify the construction, reduce costs, reduce impacts, and incorporate additional enhancements into the project. These studies resulted in several refinements to selected alternative I, which we're referring to as Concept IW. Exhibits available at tonight's meeting provide details about Concept IW. The project purpose and need was established early in the project development and has not changed since the 2012 environmental approval. It includes improving traffic flow and level of service, which is a measure of how well traffic moves along a roadway, improving safety, correcting geometric deficiencies such as narrow shoulders, and maintaining connections to key regional and national transportation corridors. In Ohio, the project will add one lane in each direction to I-75, remove left exits, and rebuild all bridges and interchanges. A collector-distributor system will be added between Ezra Charles Drive and downtown Cincinnati. A collector-distributor system is a network of roads alongside a highway that collects traffic exiting from a highway and distributes it to local roadways. It also collects traffic from local roadways and distributes it onto the highway. In the north, the project will tie into the recently completed Mill Creek Expressway Hopple Street Interchange project. The project will rebuild the I-75 interchange at the Western Hills Viaduct and tie into the new bridge replacement project being developed by the City of Cincinnati and Hamilton County. A new northbound exit will be built at Ezra Charles Drive to improve access to Union Terminal, TQL Stadium, and over the Rhine. Lastly, the project will connect to I-71 and US 50 East. In Kentucky, the project will reconstruct and widen I-71 and I-75 and rebuild all overpass bridges and interchanges. The project will also extend existing frontage roads connecting 5th Street and Pike Street going northbound and 4th Street and Pike Street going southbound to improve connectivity in Covington. A collector-distributor system will also be built beginning northbound at 12th Street to connect interstate traffic to and from the local street network. Lastly, collector-distributor lanes will be built from south of Dixie Highway and north of Kyles Lane to reduce the need for traffic to weave between ramps and the through lanes on the interstate. Additional information about collector-distributor systems and how through and local traffic will move through the corridor are available for review at this open house public meeting. Between Ohio and Kentucky, the project will build a new double-decker companion bridge with 5 lanes on each deck west of the existing Brent Spence Bridge. The new bridge will carry through interstate traffic across the Ohio River. The existing double-decker Brent Spence Bridge will be rehabilitated and reconfigured to reduce the number of lanes on each deck from 4 to 3 and provide inside and outside shoulders. The existing bridge will carry local traffic only as part of the proposed collector-distributor roadway system described earlier. The exact design of the new companion bridge has not yet been determined. 2 bridge types are being considered to allow the design team to pursue innovative and cost-effective designs to the greatest extent possible. These include an arch bridge and a cable-stayed bridge. The bridge type will be chosen based on a technical analysis by the design build team. Regardless of the type that is ultimately chosen, KYTC and ODOT will work with the design build team to ensure an iconic, aesthetically pleasing bridge is ultimately built. KYTC and ODOT will also continue to coordinate with an aesthetics committee that was established to provide local input on the design and appearance of the Brent Spence Bridge corridor, including the new companion bridge and the existing Brent Spence Bridge. For the bridges, the Aesthetics Committee will provide feedback on features such as lighting, color, tower or pier texture and color, railings, and other features. This rendering shows what a cable-stayed bridge might look like if that design is chosen. This rendering shows what an arch bridge might look like if that design is chosen. The Brent Spence Bridge Corridor project is going to be built in 3 phases. Phase 1, shown in yellow, will stretch from Finley Street to the north. Phase 2, shown in red, will stretch from Lynn Street to Finley Street. Phase 3, shown in blue, will build everything else, including the new companion bridge. Phase 1 is currently under design with construction expected to begin in 2029. Phase 2 is also under design with construction expected to begin in 2026. Phase 3 will be built under a progressive design build contract, and construction will begin in 2024. Moving forward with the progressive design build process for Phase 3 brings several benefits to the project. For example, the design build team was selected based on qualifications while considering their pricing approach, rather than qualifications and just a fixed or lowest bidder price. This approach helps to minimize uncertainties such as the effects of inflation, supply chains, and availability of materials. Progressive design build also allows the project team to price materials closer to construction, allowing for more accurate cost estimates. KYTC and ODOT will also be able to work collaboratively with the design build team to finalize the project's design. Opportunities will be available for local communities and agencies to provide feedback as the project finalizes details for items such as traffic management, incident management, aesthetic treatments, streetscapes, landscapes, and gateways. Now that the progressive design build team has been chosen, the project team will begin an innovation process for the Phase 3 contract. During this time, the design build team will identify and evaluate ways to refine or change the project's basic configuration and construction criteria to meet established project goals and objectives, or reduce project costs and schedule. Before making final decisions about proposed innovations, the project team will share recommendations with local agencies and the Project Advisory Committee, and will gather feedback from local agencies that may be affected by any changes. The public will have the opportunity to provide feedback through their local agencies and the Project Advisory Committee. KYTC, ODOT, and the Federal Highway Administration will consider the design build team's technical analysis and local agency feedback before making any final decisions about proposed innovations, and the public will be notified of accepted innovations. Once the innovation process is completed, the project will move forward with design, and construction is expected to begin in early 2024. KYTC and ODOT are currently in the process of evaluating the project's effects on the human and natural environment. The project will need to acquire about 51 acres of additional land called right-of-way to build the Brent Spence Bridge Corridor project. In addition, the project will require 4 residents and 27 businesses to relocate. The project may also result in noise impacts and may impact the Goebel Park Complex, the Queensgate Playground and Ball Field, the Lewisburg Historic District, and historic Longworth Hall. Potential impacts to wetlands, streams, rivers, floodplains, and threatened and endangered species are also being evaluated by the project team. Short-term traffic, noise, and air quality impacts may also occur while the project is being built, although these impacts would be temporary and would only last until construction is over. KYTC and ODOT have avoided and minimized impacts as much as possible and are developing ways to offset unavoidable impacts. These are called mitigation measures. Some mitigation measures, such as noise walls and improvements to local parks, will be built with the project. Other mitigation measures, such as measures to offset potential impacts to wetlands, streams, and threatened and endangered species, will occur off-site. KYTC and ODOT are developing several project features to provide enhancements to local communities. These include aesthetic treatments, new and improved pedestrian and bicycle connections, additional noise and visual screening walls, separating highway runoff from combined sewers in Kentucky and Ohio to reduce flooding and overflow events, opening up 10 acres of land for potential redevelopment in downtown Cincinnati, and providing increased opportunities for disadvantaged business enterprise participation, on-the-job training, and workforce development in the Progressive Design Build contract. As mentioned earlier, environmental approval for the project was received in 2012. Since that time, regulations and site conditions have changed, and KYTC and ODOT have refined the project's design. In 2022, KYTC and ODOT began preparing updates to the 2012 environmental studies to evaluate potential impacts of the project based on these changes. A supplemental environmental assessment is expected to be available for public review later this year, and public hearings will be held in both Kentucky and Ohio. The Federal Highway Administration's final decision for the environmental process is expected to occur in early 2024. This concludes our presentation. Please take some time to review the exhibits available at tonight's open house public meeting and to talk with members of our project team. For more information or to offer feedback, please visit the project website at BrentSpenceBridgeCorridor.com.